Can I ask a question? Your true face, what kind of face is it? I wonder, the face under the mask, is that your true face? It must have been over 15 years since I first read that quote, and till this day, it still haunts me. Masks and their meaning are at the core of this story, and the humanity of those concepts fascinates me. It had been a while since I revisited Termina, so recently I decided to boot it up and immerse myself back into my favorite video game. And just as I was about to enter the Stone Tower Temple, the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask celebrated its 20th anniversary. 20 years, and here I was, replaying it for who knows how many times. That's quite a legacy. All that got me thinking. It made me remember my close connection to the game during all these years. As I finished this latest playthrough, I kept remembering just how much this game changed me. How much Skull Kid, Tattletale, Anju, Tingle, Romani, Cremia, and Darmani, Mikawa, and Cafe moved me. It's weird going back and remembering them. Like old friends. Remember their unique schedules. Remember they have goals, dreams, but also fears. You see, Majora's Mask is a weird game, especially for a Zelda game. You're thrown into this world as a Deku and you don't really know what to do. You can't save properly, and for some reason, every time you do, you either have to stop playing or go back in time and lose all your items. This festival is happening and you need to repeat this weird loop a million times to find some mask before the moon falls and kills everyone. And I think that this is what gave Majora's that everlasting uniqueness. I know it doesn't really make much of a difference trying to say something about this game. From analysis to theories, almost everything that could be said about it has been said. But I felt the urge, the need to talk about it because I wanted to share what it means to me. Masks as a means to explore the theme at the core of it all: loneliness. In the land of Hyrule there echoes a legend held dearly by the royal family that tells of a boy who, after battling evil and saving Hyrule, crept away from the land that made him a legend. Done with the battles he once waged across time, he embarked on a journey, a secret and personal journey. A journey in search of a beloved and invaluable friend. A friend with whom he parted ways when he finally fulfilled his heroic destiny and took his place among legends. The somber atmosphere welcomes us. We find ourselves inside the Lost Woods, surrounded by mist and an eerie silence. This is our first step into this world, and it introduces us to the tone of this new story. It hasn't been long since Ocarina of Time, and in this dark place we meet Link. He walks with Epona looking for Navi. Our hero's journey starts with him looking for his best friend, and that is the essential quality of his character. A boy looking for his friend. Try to remember that because we will be coming back to it. Suddenly, Link is assaulted by Skull Kid and his fairies. They steal his ocarina and Epona, and as he pursues them, Link is cursed and transformed into a Deku. Just like that, the adventure begins. There is something about all this that has always been in the back of my mind. Link has been lonely ever since he saved Hyrule. He leaves his home to search for a friend to fill that loneliness, and as he gets to Termina, he's forced back into an adventure. But in a way, I suspect he relishes that. If there's something we've learned from the introduction segment, is that Link has been training. He has grown. He's doing some cool flips as he jumps, and he's now able to carry a Hylian-like shield with a single hand. This is his chance to revive the glory days. His chance to stop searching and feel that loneliness for a while. A chance to adventure and remember who he is. However, As Link goes further in this adventure, he discovers a world that reflects him, and that's what makes this adventure so personal. Termina reflects his loneliness. Death, in the shape of an angry moon, is staring back at the inhabitants of this land, and as each hour goes by, the dread is imminent. Their death approaches, slowly, steadily, and unavoidable. And as the world is coming to an end, what can you do? The inhabitants of Termina come to terms with their death by reflecting on their lives. Their fear reflects their psyche, and as you keep repeating this loop, you get to know them. They are not just polygons anymore, they are people. Layered characters with their own stories where you are just a passerby. Majora's Mask is the darkest Zelda game not because it has the darkest or most gory visuals, even if it does have some of those, but because of the themes it explores. It explores fear and loneliness in such a personal way that at times, it is frightening. It explores loneliness and the mask used to hide it, because when we get down to it, that's what this game is about, a world that uses masks. Masks that reflect what we want to show to others and hide our true self. I always found the use of masks to be very clever because Link wears the masks of Termina. He uses the masks to carry their burdens, but also Link wears the masks of death. Each transformation mask carries a soul, which Link wears to help heal the relationships that these characters left behind. Most of the time, you're not saving the world. Most of the time, you're just another one of the inhabitants of Termina, waiting for the end to come. You're just hanging out with the people and getting to know them. You're just playing with Romani or racing with the Gorons or just healing a terrified world. As the adventure progresses, the dread becomes personal because you're not only saving the world, you're saving your friends. You're saving the ranch, the kids, Anju and Cafe's wedding, you're saving their dreams. And every single loop ends with the moon falling, so there's no escaping that. As you save the world once, you failed a million times more in the previous loops. That's something I have taken in very consciously in my latest playthroughs. I try to use the least amount of loops as I can because I know that every time I go back, that is a timeline where I failed. The journey is tiresome. You release the curses from each region, get some masks, and as you get to the end, you face your final challenge, Majora's Mask. And this entire final chapter is great. You face Majora in a surreal plane inside the moon. There, you meet the Moon Children. I could go on a tangent and discuss a million theories surrounding their identity or their theoretical connection to the Happy Mask salesman. But my focus here isn't that. My focus here is Majora itself because you see, Majora and Skull Kid are tied for a reason. Throughout the game we learned that Skull Kid was just a mischievous child that liked to play pranks to get attention. He was just a kid who had friends and who also lost them. Skull Kid was a lonely kid just trying to recover those connections. Majora found this kid. Majora consumed by anger, consumed by this desire to create chaos. And how do we meet Majora after we leave Skull Kid? Majora is an outcast, just like Skull Kid. Majora is a lonely kid, just like Skull Kid, just like Link. And although we never get to know who or what exactly Majora is, and maybe never will, we did get to know what's important. Majora, like every single person in Termina, was just trying to fill its emptiness within. Majora was an anarchist who pursued chaos to feel seen, just like Skull Kid liked to play pranks to be seen. Because Majora was never seen before, and this was its way of saying, I am here, I exist, and I feel too. As the adventure ends, Majora is defeated, and maybe it was too late for it, but it wasn't for Skull Kid. You may have saved the world, but most importantly, you saved that lonely kid that reflected you so much. And with that, credit roll. You filled that hole created by your solitude with which you started the game. You saved the world again and made new friends. Or did you? The story of Majora's Mask ends with Link leaving once again. and maybe that will be it. But many years later, we learned that it wasn't. The story of the hero of time didn't end there. Twilight Princess showed us his fate, his terrible fate. Link didn't get a happy ending. His soul is still bound to the world through the hero's shade, and he's still filled with regrets. Link saved the world, but that doesn't fix him. He is still lonely. Back in Ocarina of Time, Link was an outsider among the Kokiri, and when Navi and the Deku Tree came knocking, he found a purpose. He took on that role and fulfilled that purpose. However, through that journey, he was scarred, and we see those scars stay with him for the rest of his life, which could even give us the hint that Link has PTSD. Regardless, he did it. He saved Hyrule, and once Hyrule was saved, he lost that purpose, but most importantly, he lost the only friend that could understand all he went through. Fate betrayed Link, and he did all he could to face that. He saved Termina just to find himself back with regrets. His terrible fate was to live with the trauma by himself. Link lives in a cycle where he's constantly filling the hole inside him through adventures just to be left alone. Again. The tragedy of this is that the idea of a hero isn't as bright as a young me might have thought. The path of a hero is a burden. It's a curse. The path of the hero is a lonely one. And just like his parallel to Majora, Link wants to raise his voice. They are the two sides of yin and yang. Majora reflected its loneliness with an uproar of chaos. It screamed to be noticed. Link also raised his voice. He raised his voice as the wolf. And as the hero he is, he used that voice not for chaos, but to train his successor, and in a way, regardless of the pain, save the world one last time.